Most men miss it. They walk through life unaware that there's a woman, maybe more than one, secretly craving their attention. Not just liking you, not just attracted, but mentally and emotionally preoccupied with you. And the signs? They're subtle. But once you learn to spot them, you'll never look at women the same way again. Here's what you need to know. When a woman craves your attention, she doesn't always ask for it. She pulls for it. Psychologically, emotionally, energetically. She drops signals. She tests responses. She's trying to get close without making herself too obvious. And if you're the kind of man who walks with quiet confidence, who doesn't chase, who leads with presence rather than performance, you've probably felt it without realizing. That text that seemed random. That look that lingered a little too long. That sudden interest in things you like. In this video, we're breaking down 5 psychological signs that a woman is craving your attention, signs grounded in behavior, backed by emotion, and impossible to fake. And if you see these signs in someone around you, you're not imagining it. She wants you to notice her. Desperately. Sign 1. She creates situations where you have to notice her. She won't say it outright. She won't walk up to you and confess, "I want your attention." Instead, she'll do something far more subtle. She'll engineer moments where your eyes naturally land on her. It could be something as simple as her showing up where you didn't expect her to be. Wearing something just a little different. Laughing louder when you're around. Or suddenly needing help with something she's never cared about before. What she's really doing is building micro moments of visibility. Moments that seem accidental, but are absolutely intentional. Psychologically, when a woman craves your attention, she enters what we call high awareness mode. She becomes hyper-aware of your presence, your reactions, your tone, your gaze. And when you're near, she adapts. Not to manipulate, but to attract. Because to her, your attention isn't casual, it's emotional currency. Here's how it shows. She suddenly joins the same group, class, or online circle as you. She posts stories, tweets, or updates that subtly match things you like. She changes her look, hair, outfit, even perfume right before a setting where she knows you'll be. She finds small ways to physically place herself in your field of vision. You might think, it's just coincidence. But watch the pattern. It's not once, it's repeated, and it's always around you. Here's what's happening inside her mind. She wants you to notice her without her having to ask for it. Because asking feels vulnerable, and what she's craving isn't just your gaze, it's your voluntary interest. That's why it's so powerful when you notice without her begging for it, because then it feels real. Like you saw her not because she asked, but because something about her moved you. And once she sees that you looked just on, she'll store that moment like a secret win. It'll keep her coming back for more. And she'll continue building those little stages, hoping you'll catch the next show. This isn't attention-seeking in the shallow sense. This is attention longing, a psychological need for validation from someone whose opinion carries weight. So if you notice a woman creating coincidences around you, if her presence feels too convenient, too curated, too patterned, it's likely not random. She's inviting you to look. And she's hoping quietly, deeply, that this time, you won't look away. Sign 2. She mirrors your energy without realizing it. One of the most powerful psychological signs that a woman craves your attention is something she may not even notice she's doing. She starts to mirror you. You lean back, she leans back. You speak calmly. She softens her voice. You cross your arms, and a moment later, she's done the same. It's not copying, it's connection. This phenomenon is known in psychology as mirroring, and it's a deep, subconscious response we have when we're emotionally drawn to someone. Mirroring is not something she thinks about, it's something her nervous system does automatically when she wants to feel closer to you. Why? Because when we like someone, our brains try to create similarity. We instinctively start behaving like them to build rapport and lower the invisible walls between us. But here's the twist. She's not mirroring everyone. She's mirroring you. That's what makes it meaningful. Here's what this looks like in real life. You change your sitting posture, and minutes later, she's in the same position. You use a certain word or phrase, and she picks it up and starts saying it too. You're quiet and composed, and suddenly her usual energetic tone becomes softer and more focused around you. Your texting style, punctuation, emoji use, rhythm begins to reflect in her replies. This isn't coincidence. It's emotional calibration. And it's her way of saying, I'm tuned into you. But why does this matter? Because people only mirror those they deeply respect or desire. They want to sync up emotionally. They want to build resonance. It's a silent attempt to match your rhythm, your world, because she wants to be noticed in a way that feels aligned, not forced. And when a woman craves your attention, she'll unconsciously adjust her emotional frequency to get closer to yours. It's not about pretending. It's about blending. She's subconsciously telling you, I'm safe, I'm familiar, I understand you. Now here's how you spot it. Watch her body language when you speak. Does it slowly reflect yours? Pay attention to her texting style. Has it started to resemble yours? Does her emotional state tend to shift when you shift yours? If the answer is yes, it's not manipulation, it's chemistry. And she's not doing it to trick you. She's doing it because something about you makes her want to stay close without disrupting the harmony. So next time you catch her mimicking your vibe, your pace, your mood, don't dismiss it. That's not just imitation. That's her soul leaning in. Sign 3. She reacts emotionally to your silence. Here's where things get interesting. When a woman craves your attention, it's not just your presence. She reacts towards your absence. Let that sink in. You stop replying for a while. You don't show up where you usually do. You go quiet emotionally or digitally. And suddenly, she becomes unsettled. Maybe she double texts. Maybe she posts something that feels unusually pointed. Maybe a friend says, she was asking about you. Or maybe she doesn't say anything at all, but her energy shifts, because silence from a man she doesn't care about goes unnoticed. But silence from a man she craves attention from feels like rejection. Psychologically, this is what we call anxiety-triggered focus. The moment you withdraw, then slightly her brain starts searching for reasons. Did I do something wrong? Why hasn't he responded? Is he mad? Is he over me? This overthinking spiral is fueled by a deeper fear, that your attention was never real, that she imagined it all, and that's exactly why your silence hits different. Because to her, it's not just quiet, it's emotional distance. Here's how this plays out. She suddenly engages more with your social media after you've been quiet. She drops a subtle, indirect message. Hey, haven't seen you around, or hope everything's okay. She posts something mysterious, deep, or emotional, hoping you'll notice. She becomes passive-aggressive, cold, or confusing in conversation, trying to provoke a reaction. What she's really saying beneath all that. I noticed your silence, and it matters to me. This is where most men get confused. They think, she didn't seem that interested before. But craving doesn't always show in presence. Sometimes it reveals itself in loss. And when your absence stings, it tells you just how deeply your presence was felt. Now, a word of caution. This isn't about playing games. You don't go silent to manipulate her. You pay attention to her reactions as proof of unspoken emotional attachment. If she's emotionally fine when you're quiet, she likely sees you as a friend or passing connection. But if your silence disrupts her rhythm, if it creates confusion, tension, or even a visible effort to pull you back in, then trust me, you're not just someone she noticed. You're someone she needs to feel noticed by. And that, right there, is one of the clearest psychological signs. She craves your attention more than she's willing to admit. Sign 4. She tries to spark jealousy subtly. When a woman craves your attention and isn't sure she's getting it, she may try something bold without appearing bold at all. She tries to make you just a little jealous. Not by declaring she's into someone else. Not by bragging, but by strategically placing signals that suggest she might be getting attention from someone other than you. This could be as simple as mentioning another guy who complimented her, laughing a little too hard at another man's joke when you're around, telling a casual story that just happens to include a male friend or coworker, posting a picture that's just ambiguous enough to make you wonder. Now, most men don't notice it. Or worse, they get insecure and pull away. But if you're smart, you'll see it for what it really is. A test, not of your masculinity, but of your interest. Psychologically, this is rooted in attachment signaling. When someone wants attention from a person who's emotionally reserved, They sometimes try to create an emotional spike, jealousy, curiosity, even a little confusion just to spark engagement. Because when you react, even subtly, she knows you're paying attention. Here's what's wild. She's not trying to replace you. She's trying to trigger you, not to hurt you, but to see if you care. Why? Because your indifference is scarier to her than your jealousy. So how do you spot it? She brings up male attention, but always checks your reaction immediately after. She suddenly becomes more visible online, posting selfies, showing off social outings. She makes sure you hear about someone who asked her out, but says it like it's no big deal. She acts slightly more distant right after a moment of connection, just to see if you'll chase. These aren't random. These are emotional probes. They're designed to break your silence, stir your interest, and reveal whether or not you're affected. But here's the key. The more subtle the attempt, the deeper the craving. She doesn't want to lose your respect, she just wants to feel your energy again. So if you catch her doing things that seem just a little off-brand, if she suddenly seems performative or oddly flirtatious with others in your presence, know this. She's not doing it for them. She's doing it for you. Because in her heart, she's not looking to move on. She's hoping you'll realize. She still wants your eyes on her. Sign 5. She lights up when you finally notice her. You say her name. You compliment something subtle. You ask her a direct question, and suddenly something shifts. Her posture opens, her eyes sparkle, her voice softens or gets excited. It's as if the entire room fades, and in that single moment, you become her entire focus. This is one of the most undeniable signs she's been craving your attention. Your acknowledgement changes her emotional state. It's not fake, it's not rehearsed. It's a release of built-up energy. Because when someone wants to be seen by you, really seen, and you finally look, finally notice, it feels like a personal victory. Psychologically, this is what we call reward response. Her body and mind experience a small emotional high when you engage with her. It could be eye contact, a compliment, a laugh, even just a thoughtful reply. And in return, she lights up not because you flattered her, but because your energy met hers. This reaction doesn't happen with just anyone. She may have 100 casual conversations a day, but the one she remembers, the one where you finally looked her way. Here's how to recognize this shift. Her entire vibe becomes more relaxed or more alive the moment you acknowledge her. She suddenly becomes more talkative, even if she was reserved just moments before. Her smile comes quicker, lasts longer, and feels personal. She starts asking you questions back, investing in the moment. What's really happening is this. She's been waiting, hoping, wondering if you'd ever notice the little signals she's been sending. And when you do, even briefly, she blooms. This isn't about ego. It's not about power. It's about emotional desire being met with connection. Here's the deeper truth. People don't crave attention from just anyone. They crave it from the ones whose presence makes them feel worthy, excited, and seen. So when your attention hits her differently, when it causes a visible shift in her demeanor, that's not coincidence. That's confirmation. It means your silence wasn't ignored. Your presence wasn't missed. It was watched, waited for, and quietly hoped for. And the moment you finally gave her a glimpse of your energy, even just a moment of authentic attention, her whole being responded like a woman who'd been holding her breath and could finally exhale. That's not just attraction. That's longing fulfilled.